just isn't quite good enough. Life might be too short to play a game that's just okay, I guess, and I fall in the latter camp. Now, have you ever played or watched something that you know is technically good, or it's an improvement upon a previous thing and doesn't do anything really egregiously wrong, but it still doesn't click with you? Something you might mildly enjoy, but it's missing something where you may ultimately forget it over time? That's Assassin's Creed Shadows for me. Putting some of my personal whining aside for a second, the good news, it is an improvement upon Assassin's Creed Valhalla. From a technical standpoint, it's in way better shape performance-wise and glitch-wise. It has way better stealth, and the world is gorgeous and incredible. I really think the extra time in the development oven helped this one out. But unfortunately, repetitive quests and side activities, some weird design choices, and some real rough story sections unfortunately just drag it all down. When you don't care about the story and you start to feel like you've seen everything after the first 20 hours, you might end up just kind of feeling like you're just going through the motions, turning off your brain and just grinding through another big Assassin's Creed game until you stop and ask yourself, what for? Still, it's an interesting game to talk about overall, and all this just comes down to your preferences. I know some people that put 200 hours into Valhalla, and they loved every minute of it, so I might not be talking to that type of person, but either way, let's just dive in more. And just so you know, I've been playing a review copy, and this footage is spoiler-free and is captured running on a PS5 Pro. Now, first things first, it's an Assassin's Creed game featuring two full-made playable characters, not just swapping between guy and girl. They have real, substantial, and distinct playstyles. This isn't like a Jacob and Evie Fry thing. This is like deliberate, and they really committed to two completely different feeling characters and playstyles. So there's Nawe, the shinobi stealth character, and Yasuke, the big, strong samurai. Two complete polar playstyles. Now the game starts surprisingly, the game not bringing Yasuke is powerful as hell. He sprints much slower, but he's larger. He can bash through doors. He can take a bunch of hits, deal a ton of damage, but he can barely do any assassin type stuff. And he can't really climb very much. Sure, like I said, he can break through doors, but still, you're very limited in terms of just how you get around. This leads to him being a ton of fun to play as in a pinch when you just want to be strong and chop off a bunch of heads, but it makes him far less enticing to play mainly as you ride around and explore, because like when you can't climb much in an Assassin's Creed game, you really have a hard time getting anywhere or doing anything. So on the one hand, they committed to these characters feeling starkly different, which is cool, I commend them for that, but on the other hand, it just feels kind of forced and weird in certain moments. One of the main ways to progress your character with skill points is one of the characters can't version of it, but still, it just doesn't feel like it. So while they make creative stuck to their guns, to me, it can't help but feel like trying to please everyone. You know, the sneaky assassins in Assassin's Creed fans, and the newer fans who just love these massive big RPGs and love killing dudes as a Viking or a Greek warrior previous. So for me, Yasuke was really fun in the select story missions and moments where you just needed to play as him. I actually really enjoyed him for that. The brutality, you know, his special abilities, his ranged abilities, and just really, really good gore and decapitations made it, well, nice in the moment. But Naue, on the other hand, she's kind of more well-built for what these games still are. The running, the climbing, the jumping, you know, climbing up towers and swan diving off, all that stuff. The stealth, also, it's very, very good. It's still Assassin's Creed, right? So it's still pretty smooth and streamlined and simple, but it just works well here. You get the right amount of actually useful tools, no real filler or fluff with them. You get just the right amount of hiding places just to make it feel fresh enough for this series. Look, this series always gets flack for this, and this is still the case. Like, you'll still just sit and hide in a bush, and then you whistle, and then a dumb guy walks over and you stab him in the face, and you pull him into the bushes with you. But they introduce clever, creative ways to kind of keep you on your toes. Like some enemies just being able to see you coming a bit better, some challenging combat, and cool tricks like some interior areas having like shinobi-proof floors and traps that make noises and alert people when you're trying to sneak up on them. You can also hold the crouch button and go completely prone, just crawl around, kind of like the last in very specific instances, but still it's nice to have, and I think it's a good addition to the series. I do miss social stealth, but I'm glad they didn't just toss some of it in here in a half-ass way like Valhalla did. It's honestly the best stealth in these newer games, I guess, since Assassin's Creed Origins. So I'm giving it a lot of credit for it. It has some issues, like when you go to some of the smaller interiors and the towers, the controls get really fiddly and the camera can get stuck and screw you up. But otherwise, it's all pretty good. It's no Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, but I think it saved the game for me personally. It's also way better with the difficulty turned up. Just a heads up for some. Unfortunately, what you're actually doing can dry up after a while. A lot of encounter areas make you just start to feel familiar, and you get into that rinse repeat. It's a big world filled with things to do, but something that delights you, just changes things up. They are here, they are deep in this world. You just gotta dig for them. The main stuff, the main side quests on the surface, just this is because the objectives usually boil down to something extremely simple. And with the game so fluid and accessible and designed in this way, it doesn't really ever want to shake things up. A lot of the game is structured around groups, many groups and side groups of people that need to be carried out. Each requires a mission or a handful of missions that actually find out where they are. Meet up with them and take them out. This is great. So when we say there's a select handful of people that we've seen it in other games, and we definitely seen it in Assassin's Creed games, but the way it's paced and how both the side and main stuff is often structured like this, it just leads to few and far between or scattered. It's just really, really muddled, and it's hard to stay interested. And I say that as a bad thing because, well, the game does double down on storytelling. Lengthy dialogue sequences and surprisingly long cutscenes show the game is really committed to it. Unfortunately, nearly all of it fell flat for me, mostly because of the voice acting. You encounter dozens and dozens of characters on your adventure, and only a small select few had voice acting that didn't get on my nerves. Corny dialogue writing mixed with awkward voice acting is just not enjoyable, especially when the game has lots to talk about. Now, I can shrug that off in a lot of games or situations, but unfortunately, the two main leads here also fell apart. Just stiff, awkward, dare I say, religious people that I found really hard to care about, and really spending a lot of time with them. Now I start with a bitch and where the guys are basically starts with this. Hey, it has some really cool moments, and a few cool story sequences that are just peppered throughout and surrounded by a bunch of way less exciting directed stuff. All that stuff gets in the way of a few really cool moments that make the game really feel like a proper Assassin's Creed game. All of that good, solid stuff is buried in hours and hours of stuff that, frankly, I found boring. Long dialogue sequences about characters that don't matter, that quickly the game moves on from. And again, stiff characters just really hurt the experience. I want a story to chase. I want a vibe or a feeling to play through. I want to see what's going to happen at the end of stories. That's why I play through. But I didn't really get any of it here. What I did get, sort of, is this world. It is absolutely staggering and way more people, higher population. Big cities, castle towns, fishing villages, woodsy hunter encampments, all peppered through a big and very varied map. This Japan feels alive and really is just straight up awesome. snow can be deep and slow you down, for instance. But the visual change-ups are really awesome. Being wanted in a whole area of the map is still chaotic, and especially the guys that chase you this time around, they are like really over the top and actually pretty cool. But the visual change-ups really are the thing here. It's awesome. It's a great way to pace the game because once you start getting bored of looking at it one way, it nearly completely changes to something else. The looks are over the top and just really nice looking. You know, they're not perfect. Every so often you'll come across a perfectly blossoming, beautiful, bright spring tree in the middle of winter, but it really is a hell of a technical accomplishment here. And that goes for the rest of it because I can only speak for my experience playing on PS5, but it all ran decent and looked good. And most importantly, I didn't encounter any bugs or weird glitches or crashes in my playthrough. Combat is a fairly simple affair. A few different weapon types with heavy and light attacks and dodges and perfect timing. Almost Brotherhood style, like having an ally stealth kill an enemy from a nearby push, or have a heavy character jumping in to help fight. You also have your own special abilities to hold the trigger and press a button, lunge, avoid hits, straightforward stuff. And really the combat overall here is straightforward. Honestly, it is similar vein, but here the clash of swords is very satisfying. It's actually really good. Hands not off, blood sprays on the walls, and the fire attack animation. And assassin skills. You level up and earn points to spend to unlock things in these different trees, and they work well and good enough. You know, game-changing abilities and better use of tools, or just a melee damage increase. Either way, the types of things you unlock are very useful, and it just feels pretty good to acquire them. Unfortunately, better and better skills are actually locked behind knowledge rank tiers that you gotta open up first, and those require separate points to earn. The easiest and main way to earn them is by exploring and doing stuff. Archery challenges and little different meditative things for Yasuke, or finding shrines and temples and exploring them for Nawe. These places either require you to pick up X number of hidden things, or pray for different talk about my experience playing it, and that's a before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. It seems like when you look online in the gaming world, it's either people's most anticipated game ever, or the worst game. The reality is probably a little less extreme, so let me know in the comments what you think. think about this game? Were you looking forward to it? Have you been begging for an Assassin's Creed game in Japan? Do you like Tenchu as much as I do? Is that maybe clouding your judgment on all of this? I don't know for sure. Look, let's talk anything Assassin's Creed Shadows down in the comments. If you like this video and maybe just seeing some... As always, thanks for watching.
We got a real situation going on here.
They don't let tourists in here, so try to blend in.
You mean blend in? I'm 2 feet taller than everybody in here.
Assassin's Creed Japan is coming out, and as much as I hate to say it, this looks great. It's a perfect compromise between old and new and action, and it's I think the funniest thing about Assassin's Creed Shadows, though, is that they're betting the entire house on an idea that they were fucking stupid for like 10 years. They were going around saying, shut up with your little low tax bracket ideas, fans. You're making it hard for us to count our money. Then Ghost of Tsushima made Sony almost $1 billion. But enough background, enough. Because everyone just got back from playing the underdeveloped games at Ubisoft Island, and now it's the moment of truth. Did they make a good Assassin's Creed game?
It doesn't seem like...
Of course not. Where the hell have you been? They haven't made an Assassin's Creed game since 2015, and the Body Snatchers got to it, and they've been dead naming it for the last 10 years. Assassin's Creed Shadows looks like the same boring RPG formula that they've been using, just with more window dressing than ever before, so that they can pretend like it's going to be anything different. Do we have power fantasy combat? You can change the seasons. Can we fluidly
Change the seasons?
chain takedowns? You can have so many cats in your lawn.
Wait, what? This is Assassin's Creed? Who the fuck asked for this?
have help.
This is the expert on. This is them. These are the experts on Japanese culture. That's right. They, you know, like this is. Now I'm trying to think. Have they gotten anything about this game right? Let me think for a minute. I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't know.
Aliens in the last game? I thought this was a fun franchise. I thought we were having fun here. Pick a lane. If we're having fun with history, Yasuke should be doing flips and shit too. He should be able to seamlessly go from kicking dudes across the East China Sea into shadow walking the enemies into his tactful, stealthy lock-picking techniques. Instead, all of a sudden, we can't mix the two power fantasies together?
No, of course not.
What? You mean like the game you're knocking off? You mean like Brotherhood? We had 3 power fantasies in one with that game. You were a force
It
of
would be
nature.
really funny if after I play Assassin's Creed Shadows, I just start playing Ghost of Tsushima, and then I just play it in the Assassin's Creed Shadows category. And I just play it as if it's Assassin's Creed the whole time. And I just never even refer to, like, it'd be really fucking funny.
In combat, a force of nature and stealth, and a 6-foot Italian guy. I've been to Italy, not one Italian over 5'6". Must be true. Then go to the other pillar of ass creed, stealth. And now let's watch our stealth specialist in action.
Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Ooh, got him.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we can't one-shot that guy because he's got a level 26 rice hat on.
He's got a crown.
If we can't assassinate these guys anymore, why are we even calling this Assassin's Creed? We should be calling this emotional damage. Assassination technique.
I'm never playing as the girl, by the way. Like, there's no reason to play as the girl. Everything's wrong. The girl just seems like she sucks. You have to? No. No, I won't have to.
Flourishing, then he whispers, and kiss the homie goodnight. No, wait, man, I take it back. That's a
meta.
ninja moment right there, and I respect it. Now going to the third and final pillar of Assassin's Creed, parkour. What is
It's
this?
crazy. fucking god.
For each main boss we encounter, we're gonna be
Jordan Clapper, we got so much to talk about. Now, one of Trump's big promises for his second term was supporting violent immigrants from America. And he often mentioned one
Trendy. All right. Trendy. All right.
Give the members of that gang are like, Trump sounds like my grandfather ordering Chipotle. I'll take the Buenos nachos. And over the weekend, Trump announced he was deporting hundreds of these suspected Venezuelan gang members all the way back to El Salvador. So, close enough. And of course, these suspected gang members would be afforded a rigorous legal procedure, including a trial, the presentation of evidence, and all the rights of due process. He did it, Trump.
The administration invoking an obscure law, the Aliens Enemies Act of 1798, which allows the government to deport people with little to no due process, and was last used to round up Japanese Americans during World War II.
Last used to round up Japanese Americans during World War II. Why does Trump always have to pick the oldest, most racist laws to do what he wants to do? Cutting taxes under the authority of the It's Okay to Drown Italians law of 1863. It's not just that it's archaic. Invoking that law has some big problems. One is that if you're deporting gang members, but there's no due process, then you don't really know if you're deporting gang members. You're just deporting people who you think look like gang members. And if you start deporting every shady-looking guy with questionable tattoos, I mean, who's gonna go to jet skis? But you know what? I'm sure Donald Trump has the cultural understanding to carefully as a member of what's that gang name again? To be used in wartime. So to make this work, Trump had to pretend that we're in a war with Venezuela, which we're not. Not to mention, a pretend war is an extremely complicated concept to throw the Secretary of Defense on St. Patrick's Day. So, there. Okay. So, bottom line here. And there's a lot of legal questions up in the air. So on Saturday, a federal judge decided on the race.
That federal judge, in an emergency hearing Saturday, ordered any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States, adding this is something you need to make sure is compliant immediately.
The judge has ruled that that's the way the system works. So, Trump brought the Venezuelans back, gave them due process, did the whole Constitution thing. I'm with you again. He ignored the judge.
The administration made a calculated decision to ignore a federal judge's directive to turn the flights around.
My God. If you had told me that Donald Trump would trigger a constitutional crisis into his term, I would have said, that is a lot later than I thought. I mean, Donald showed a lot of respect before really becoming presidential. Of course, the administration didn't just come out and say, we don't listen to judges from now on. They had the respect the judicial branch to come up with some
Planes were already mid-air, and that his verbal order some 40 minutes earlier did not count.
It didn't count. Yeah. Is that how rulings work? You have to put it in writing, you can't just say it? Well, this is definitely not the first time that Trump has defended himself by arguing that oral doesn't count. Look it up. Look it up. Look, the judge wasn't terribly impressed with that argument, so Trump's lawyers went with another response, which was, "Can't catch me, force field!"
The Trump administration argued that the court no longer had jurisdiction once the planes were over international waters.
Yes, okay, apparently, the Constitution is not in effect over international waters. That explains Carnival Cruise Line's new ship, the SS Cruise and Unusual Adventures. While the Trump administration is saying that it has the right to President
Donald Trump just took a trip social and deemed this judge responding to this decision.
He's voiding Joe Biden's pardons. It's not enough that he's fighting the judicial branch in the present. He's also fighting the executive branch in the past. He's causing more problems in the multiverse than Jonathan Majors. But yes, I guess Donald Trump just found out about auto pens, which leads us to one of the most annoying events in a Trump presidency. Donald learns about something new, so we all have to learn about it too.
Presidents Biden and Obama both used an auto pen device to sign official documents, a practice that is legally binding.
The actual use of the auto pen dates back to Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson? I mean, I guess that makes sense. When you have that many secret kids, that's a lot of birthday cards you gotta sign. Waiting for the airplane.
been 15 years, but the bitter taste of defeat lingers still. 15 years since the Imperial fleet set course for Mordona, led by the Agrios, mightiest of all vessels. Silver Till lay ripe for the taking, and all of Eorzea would soon be ours. Or so we believed. But an innumerable host of dragons met us that day, at the heart of which flew the great Midgard Zormer. Though we succeeded in slaying that lord among worms, the dread serpent's defeat was bought at too high a price. Our invincible flagship was lost, and all hope of victory with her. So ended our glorious conquest.
Troy. I'm sorry, Troy. Where are you right now?
Eorzea. What for all and it is. Yet it we are one man.
Auto pen on their letters.
Senior engineers, please report to Magitech Research following scheduled inspection.
Tummy ache, some had that fake get-out-of-school cough, you know.
Hey, is the legatus really planning to...
Hey? What hole have you been hiding?
When they learned about the Autopen, their hearts just stopped working.
But I thought the Emperor had given up the Western lands for long.
I sense you harbor certain doubt.
I don't get this. Trump has been so cruel to sick kids. He's cut cancer research, medical science, he's threatening their health insurance. What do they love so much about Trump?
Please, call me Nero. Tell me, where were you born?
Some of them are racist, but the point is they're gone.
Arthur, my lord.
Little booger fingers, no more department store.
Al amigo, my lord.
Screaming on airplanes, you know what? I'm kind of talking myself into this.
Troy, no.
Ah, codename Hummingway, I presume.
5 and 6 years old, so all they had at the end were their stuff.
I don't know what you...
Silence. You're I assure you, Frumentari.
Well, fortunately, President Trump said that his letter...
Clean up this mess, and do not miss any.
At once, my lord.
Garland, soon you will be made to know the true power of Magitech.
Donald Trump has been busy. In the past couple of days, he's switched sides in the war in Ukraine, announced a national crypto reserve, dismantling the national crypto service. As part of the fun of experiencing a category 5 to start a North American trade war, but boy, he put it on the cap. We begin with the breaking news. America's escalated trade war is dramatic. Trade war kicked off on a struggle midnight. That's right, baby. Trade war. Woo! Nobody does war better than USA. 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 That's right. Canada and Mexico are about to feel the pain. And the best part is, it's not going to affect us at all.
The average American household could spend up to $2,000 more a year on everything from produce to clothes to new cars.
Cost them a small car, an estimated $6,200 for an SUV by $9,000.
We're launching a trade war and it's going to affect us? I'm going to pay $9,000 more for a Kia Sorento? Now I finally get why they say war is hell. So that's what Private Ryan saved. That's what saved Private Ryan was all about. Private Ryan was a different Isn't this the opposite of what Trump campaign on raising prices on everything? Everybody my age in the Starbucks Secretary of Agriculture came up with it. It's not very helpful.
I think the silver lining in all of this is how do we
Enter.
in our backyards, we can do this too in our backyard, how do we solve something like this? And people are sort of looking around thinking, wow, well maybe I can get a chicken in my backyard. And it's awesome.
So, this way.
Yes, great idea. Great idea. And this time
I bid you welcome. I am Melve Ffxiv. Now,
everybody who's not a farmer wants to be. Are you kidding me? Americans don't even go to grocery stores anymore. We just text Get Cheerios to strangers on Instacart. But sure, I guess I'll become a small farmer. And hey, why stop at chickens? You know, I could grow my own avocados. I could raise my own cows. Wait, why am I buying my steel like a sucker when I could be smelting iron ore in my own bathtub? Either way, prices are about to go up, and I just hope that no one told that to the stock market.
The stock market drops for a second day in a row now that President Trump's tariffs are in effect.
God damn it, who told that to the stock market? To the stock market is plummeting thanks to the trade war that Donald Trump started. So obviously, well, we know who to blame for that, right?
What's left of the Biden economy is slumping so badly. It's just slumping. This is the legacy of the Biden economy.
Damn you, Joe Biden. You were supposed to leave the password to the economy on the White House fridge before you left. We're going to blame past presidents. Why stop at Biden? You know, Jimmy Carter's been awfully quiet lately. How convenient. But I guess rising prices and changing stock market, that's just the cost of starting a trade war with your neighbor. Now, Mexico, they expect it, right? Trump's headed up for them since no one showed up to this quinceañera, but... But why Canada? We've always been tight with Canada. We were both British colonies, we played in the same sports leagues together, we shared joint custody of Ryan Gosling. If Trump is going to launch a trade war with Canada, I hope he has a good reason. I'm sure he does.
Trump says the tariffs are limited, and he claims Canada and Mexico are working together to stop illegal immigration and fentanyl shipments.
The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive.
That makes sense. You can't just be letting Canada pump massive amounts of fentanyl and migrants across the border.
Data shows less than 1% of fentanyl entering the U.S. comes from Canada, and only 1.5% of border patrol encounters with migrants take place at the border with Canada.
Okay, so fentanyl for migrants, and it can't be because Trump's insecure or wants the alpha male running his chest so the world is whatever it is, Prime Minister Trudeau, he doesn't have And he's not even world leader mad, he's dad mad. This is the same tone I use when I tell my daughter not to throw her baby sister into the crib. You are not that type of person that does this, even though you just did this, and you'll probably keep doing it, but you're not this. Okay, Donald? My daughter's name is Donald. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford came out to warn America about the consequences of a trade war, although in a confusing way.
The people of the U.S., which I absolutely love the American people, they're going to be paying more because the market is going to go down the American bobsled team.
Whoa! Sick burn! I think. I mean, it sounded like a slam, but if the market will go downhill really fast, that means our bobsled team is also fast. Isn't that like a compliment? It's supposed to go fast, right? Unless he's saying our bobsled team is slow, which is a slam, then that means the market won't go downhill fast, which is good for our economy. This metaphor doesn't make any sense. The point is, Doug Ford is forcing me to learn about bobsledding, and I do not appreciate that. Is there a Canadian who can make an analogy that's a little less confusing? Maybe you have a good analogy.
I mean, we've been in this comfortable relationship with our American cousins, and now we're being attacked. So, we're breaking up with the U.S., and it's time to move on.
Yeah, we're cousins. So we're breaking up. This analogy is even worse than the bobsled. You can't break up with your cousin. Sure, you can both go off and get married, start your own family, try to convince yourself she's gone, but she's still there at Thanksgiving. Yeah, she brings you new husband. She laughs at his jokes. the trade war that we've launched for no reason. The point is, look, what Donald Trump has done to Canada. They're the nicest country on earth, the sexiest country on earth. You want them out too?
Canada's reasonable, and we are polite. We will not back down. Ontario Premier Doug Ford to shut off his promised electricity exports to the United States and block shipments of Ontario's
Hashtags Buy Canadian and Boycott USA going viral. Canadian coffee shop Morning Owl in Ottawa has renamed its popular Americano coffee to a Canadian. WWE fans were drowning out the performance of the Star Spangled Banner in Toronto. Take a listen.
Damn. Canada's respect for America has gone down faster than Curtis and Hubert Stevens. Gold medalists in the two-man bobsled at the 1932 Lake Placid Olympics. Now that's how you do a bobsled metaphor. Big bobsled fans out here today. Whatever the reason, Trump has now pushed America and Canada into a full-on trade war. For more, let's go live to the Canadian border with our very own Grace Schmidt. Grace, what's your analysis?
It's pretty simple, Michael. America is definitely in the wrong here. We're the bad guys. We suck. And when you've made a mistake, you have to take accountability and tell Canada to shut the fuck up.
So tell Canada to shut up?
Yeah. Listen, America is in the wrong. No ifs, ands, or buts. But when Canada starts talking shit, my dormant patriotic instincts bubble up and suddenly I'm proud to be an American. Which is crazy because I'm not. But I can't help myself. When that guy called our bobsled team slow, that piece of shit.
He was complimenting our team. I still love him.
That piece of shit. I want to take Canada's side. I'm gonna have to show theirs. Oh, Canada is in G major. I'm surprised it's not in A minor. I don't really know what that
Then why are you defending us?
means. Seeing your mom get arrested. You know she shouldn't have bought those missiles. Or you're still getting in the car and trying to grab his gun. It's crazy, but that's love. Love for your mom and love for your country. And if that means I can't eat waffles with Canadian maple syrup, then by God, I will eat them with ketchup.
Grace, I gotta say, in a weird way, I admire your patriotism.
I hate it. I'm embarrassed to be an American right now, and as an American, I'm outraged. I don't like this patriotic monster I've become. Last night, I blacked out and bought a Ford F-150. And look at this shirt I'm wearing. I don't even know when I put this on.
Wait, is that a bald eagle pooping out a maple leaf? Wait, where did you even get that, Grace?
I think I made it. Because I also have it tattooed on my back. Bottom line, Michael, I just want these tariffs to go away. I love this country so much, but sometimes America is just the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes America is the worst, Grace. You're right. Grace Schmidt, everyone. Grace Schmidt. Last night, Donald Trump gave his first joint address to Congress of his new term. And I gotta tell you, as a kid who was a bit of a civics nerd, I used to think these were pretty sweet events. You've got the president, the Supreme Court, every member of Congress in the same room. It's basically the Oscars for people with loose skin. But These days, a speech to Congress is just a theatrical production where everybody has a role and they slip right into it. So, places everywhere. Democrats show up dressed in pink as a symbolic protest against people who want them to do something meaningful. And they came with props too, holding up little paddles like they were ready to give Mike Johnson a naughty little spanking, huh? Either that or a pickleball match. And you know what? Pickleball, all right? You ever play? Yeah. Yeah. Once you get to the front line, you're not even allowed to move. How stupid is that? I'm edgy. Some Democrats took the silence to the next level. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib had a dry erase board that she updated throughout the night with protest messages like, stop lying to the American people, or no king, or that's a lie. And she read the line. She had one that said, who has Luigi's sex tape? She did that cool S. These markers are getting me high. She had one message that especially resonated with me. It said, Lucky Loser by Michael Costa in stores. Yeah. I know. It's not really an appropriate venue for that, but I appreciate it. I should also mention that Lucky Loser, my book, it's in stores next week, starting on Tuesday. You can order it now. But those were just the big players of the night. One Democrat really misunderstood.
Democrats interrupting just 4 minutes into the speech. Texas Democrat Al Green heckling the president, shaking his cane at him. Speaker Mike Johnson stopping the speech, ordering Green be removed from the chamber.
You know, there's something kind of badass about shaking your cane at someone, right? Don't with me unless you want to take this really slowly outside, all right? I will say props to this guy. He got to send a message to President Trump and go home early, you know? I should have tried that when I wanted to leave my nephew's baptism. You do not have the mandate. I'm out of here. Now, let's not forget about the Republicans. They also played their part in this performance, which was to cheer and hoot for their guy and make sure that everyone knew what country this was. Yeah, USA! USA! Careful, guys. The last time Republicans got this rowdy at the Capitol, Nancy Pelosi had to reach her desk. Here's a theater of the entire night. It's before the speech even started, when Donald Trump is walking down to the podium, surrounded by hooting Republicans, when a Democrat walks up behind him with a sign that says, "This is not normal." First of all, I think it is normal at this point. This is our normal in the same way that 20 years ago it wasn't normal to drunkenly jump in the backseat of a stranger's car, but now it's called Uber, and there's only a 50% chance you end up murdered. So yeah, you know, shit changes, okay? But anyway, that Democrat is holding a sign that's wrong and ineffective. Then a divorced dad Republican sees the sign, reaches over and yanks it out of her hand and chucks it onto the floor. And she just stands there and does nothing. She's like, well, that sign was my only idea. Forget the supporting cast. The star of the night was Donald Trump. You have to admit, he showed a lot of range last night. Okay? Like when he talked about Doge finding Social Security fraud, he got to show off his lying skills.
He also identified shocking levels of incompetence and political fraud in the Social Security program. Government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. 3.6 million people from ages 140 to 149. And one person is listed at 360 years of age.
I can't believe we're paying that many people Social Security. I can't believe it because it's not true, okay? And I could explain why it's false and why Trump's wasting everybody's time over an Excel spreadsheet error. Or, in the time it would take to explain it, we can watch this video of my dog, Walter. Fact check, he's perfect. But Trump spent a lot of his performance on the waste Elon Musk is finding while also showcasing his
Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. Diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma, improving learning outcomes in Asia. LGBTQI+. In the African nation of Lesotho. $8 million for making mice transgender.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that children's book. I think it's called If You Give a Mouse a Pussy, right? Is it? Yeah. Now, to be fair, $8 million to transition mice is a waste of money. Now, just look at Mickey Mouse, right? You put a $6 bow on him and boom, Minnie Mouse. Okay, Trump, maybe you shouldn't criticize weird science stuff when your best friend is the one putting microchips in monkey brains, and when those monkeys die, your other new best friend is taking them home in a doggy bag. But still, Trump did show his range. When his speech turned to Greenland, he showed off a very singular special talent, reassuring our allies in a bizarrely threatening way.
I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. Greenland for national security. I think we're going to get it one way or the other.
Does Trump listen to himself when he talks? He's sending a lot of mixed messages right now. You hear that, Greenland? It's your choice. It's up to you. We're easy. Of course, part of Trump's role is new policy, but doing it in the Trumpiest way possible.
Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in.
Yeah, I mean, this makes perfect sense. You know, Trump can't make announcements on April Fool's Day. Otherwise, we would all be like, what? Was this a joke? I mean, every other day where that isn't our reaction to the stuff he does. I love the level of reverence Trump shows for April Fool's Day. Juneteenth, that's not even a word. Now, this April Fool's Day, we will honor our ancestors by playing pranks and overall tomfoolery. It's important. By the way, no one over the age of 14 even celebrates April Fool's Day. That's like saying, I was going to end inflation next Friday, but actually that's when the Kids' Choice Awards are, so we'll see. As always, the most important part of Trump's performance, neatly Democrats.
Joe Biden, the worst president in American history. Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies. Look where Biden took us, very low, the lowest we've ever been. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah. Well, yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy, or to make them stand, or smile, or applaud. Nothing I can do.
I don't get why everyone that I've been bullying for 10 years never smiles at me. Why don't you like me, you limp-dick lunatics? And by the way, how is Trump still obsessed with Biden? Move on, dude. You won, right? You think Mark Zuckerberg is still talking about Tom from MySpace? No. He's busy having a midlife crisis. Look at this. Also, dude, you busted out the Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas line. That was such a old joke. Might as well have been like, hey, Pocahontas. So all in all, my review of last night's theater production is that it was humiliating and a display of thirst for attention, blind partisan rage, and a total disinterest in doing anything that might benefit the people. In other words, it truly was the State of the Union. Now, for more on last night's speech, we go live to the Capitol with Ronnie Chang.
Shit was more boring than White Lotus.
It's not all about the plot. They're building the character. Look, but what matters here is that our nation's leaders were acting like screaming children. That's embarrassing.
Okay. Let me give you some international perspective, okay? Watch what happened in Serbia's parliament, right? Look at it. There's smoke bombs, okay? This looks like Philadelphia after the Super Bowl. You know how many smoke bombs you have to set off to overpower cigarette smoke in Serbia? That is an abandonment of decorum, okay? Especially in Serbia, a country where 80% of the men work as bouncers, okay? How about democracy? Polite Asian country. Look at their parliament last month. Here they are politely barricading each other with chairs in a complete disregard for feng shui. It's like Taiwan. It's like, hey, Taiwan Parliament, how about you stop fighting and come over and help me move my apartment? All right, I only have 3 chairs.
I get your point.
All right, well, too bad, because I'm not done. Okay, look at Italy. Okay, look at this. I don't even know why they're fighting. It's probably because someone voted to add pineapple on pizza. Or, I don't know. And look about the country of Georgia. All right. Just really snuck up on you, coming in from the front like that in a well-lit room.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that in America, we're better than that. So, you're right. Thank you.
No, I'm saying we should also be doing that. Yeah. America, if you're gonna get rowdy, don't half-ass it with like a little whiteboard, okay? Congress should have looked like Walmart on Black Friday or Philadelphia on any day.
If we do that, Congress won't get anything done.
They already don't get anything done. You might as well start a Royal Rumble. Which reminds me, I better get out of here, okay? Estonia has an agricultural committee meeting on paper.
I want Ronnie Chang, everybody.
We have got a show for you tonight. I'm going to be joined later by Rupa Bhattacharya. She is the legal director of all. They know their Bhattacharyas. Constitutional advocacy and protection. I know her as the individual who took over administrating the 9/11 Disaster Act Victims Compensation and Healthcare Fund for 9/11 first responders. responders and all the people that live down at Ground Zero and Pennsylvania and the Pentagon. So, deep state. She is deep state. And I am going to take it to her ass. But first, today the United Nations marked the 3rd anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by doing the only thing the United Nations can do, passing a non-binding resolution asking Russia to please stop. Please. Take that, Putin. Interesting, though. Among the countries voting against the resolution were North Korea, Belarus, Russia, obviously, and the United States of America. They're saying Bruce. But I guess America doesn't want to set the precedent of opposing bloody land grabs. So green and landy. But hey, Century being the good guys in America, you know, whatever. It's not the only thing Donald Trump is busy disrupting these days. As you know, the Doge Project, the Department of Government Efficiency, headed up by the Nick Cannon of white people, Elon Musk, is in It's in full effect, and it may surprise you. I, for one, happen to be, quite frankly, Doge curious. I'm actually somewhat Doge adjacent. So, Mr. President, if you would.
We have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone into the government.
Yes! Now, if you had woken up from a coma and heard nothing else that this man had said for the last 10 years, you might think to yourself, I like this guy. I, too, believe government needs to be more efficient, to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse, and deliver the necessary services that Americans rely on more agilely. So what do we do first? We pour through the Inspector General's reports that have addressed these things, utilize computerishness to excise redundancies in the system, find ways to more efficiently deliver the government assistance so many Americans rely on? What's first?
Elon Musk and his Doge team firing thousands of federal workers.
They're trying to cut 10% of the federal workforce, which is 200,000 jobs.
Oh! Have we determined if those are effective workers? Is it based on performance? Are you going in with a scalpel so that we don't hit any vessels and vital organs?
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
So, straight amputation, or just amputation? It's like we're treating public servants as some kind of underclass.
The DC creature is like an animal infested with ticks and parasites. Our money is lining these swamp creatures' pockets.
You know what you call someone who sucks up resources in return for nothing? You call them a parasite. And that is what the federal workforce has become.
These saboteurs, the dead-enders, the DEI undercover agents.
The fraudsters, liars, cheaters, globalists, and deep state bureaucrats are being sent packing.
Yeah! Guy who tests water for appropriate levels of fecal matter? What are we talking about? What? You know, this is a stark emotional whiplash from looking for efficiencies. But apparently our nation's civil service is now synonymous with waste, fraud, and abuse. And MAGA world is celebrating with maximum folksy.
The gravy train for a lot of these folks has been on biscuit wheels. It's about to run off the vacuum tracks. It's about
time. There's no f***ing way you actually talk like that. No way. You're a congressman from Tennessee. You didn't spring fully formed out of a primordial cracker barrel. Oh, this here bureaucracy is a Chattanooga choo-choo to a crawfish boil on my flapjacks. I'm just stringing food words together like nonsense. Pew, pew. Other reactions were just creepy.
Doge is dishing out spankings like daddy daycare.
I don't remember the spanking scene from Daddy Daycare. Oh, you must mean the gay porn film Daddy Daycare. I get it, Jesse. I get it. You were watching the film that answers the question, what would happen if a bunch of dudes f***ed in a daycare? And it just stuck in your head. You know, I gotta tell you, I feel like you can make efficiency recommendations or cuts without necessarily demonizing people who are only carrying out Congress's wishes. But I feel like that. They don't. Here's Donald Trump's new director of the Offices of Management and Budget on his feelings about everyone who works.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically effective. We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to work.
Mission accomplished. Because these workers are the worst. A hive of scum and villainy. So, mostly scum and villainy. Just not the workers you know.
Let me tell you a story about Chris. He's going to get Doge. And this guy's not a DEI consultant. This guy's not a climate consultant. I finally found one person I knew that got Doge, and it hit me in the heart. We just need to be a little bit less callous with the way, Harold, we talk about Doging people.
Do you watch your f***ing show? Yes, you certainly want to be callous, like referring to someone losing their livelihood as being a child being spanked at daycare. But I guess that's just the price of efficiency. Doge is dropping force-guided bombs into the thermal exhaust port that is the Death Star of our bureaucracy. I f***ing love Star Wars. I just love the film. But Doge is Jedi-level shit, man.
The FDA is looking to rehire around 300 people. The Trump administration will reverse staffing cuts to the 9/11 Health Fund.
Hundreds of workers at the National Nuclear Security Administration fired, then nearly all rehired days later.
The Veterans Affairs Department reinstated terminated employees, and the USDA is rescinding termination letters sent to people working on the response to bird flu.
What I said, you were criminal parasites. Obviously wasn't referring. I had to. But that's fine. Staffing is only part of the Doge mission. There's other crazy shit we can cut.
We don't need to be wasting money on ridiculous items like seeing how fast shrimp can run on treadmills.
$1.5 million to see the effect of yoga on goats.
$1 million to study Mexican ducks in their wetland facilities.
Studies on the effect of meditation on parrots.
Nearly $1 million to study if cocaine makes Japanese quail more sexually promiscuous.
On that last one. I feel that I, not a scientist, can very confidently state pre-experiment. If you are a Japanese quail with an 8-ball, you are getting your cloaca sucked. I'm sorry. That may be the most favorite thing I've ever said on this show. No, now obviously, obviously, that list of programs, some of them are being presented to seem even more ridiculous, and some of those were completely invented out of thin air. But the point is, why are we spending money on things that seem obviously stupid? Even though a government-funded study on these things has ended up solved by Japanese quail cocaine. It's really the Star Wars of drugs, cocaine. No downsides. You'd be having your ferocious son in no time. Even if this project of Doge is animated by malice for administrators and is seemingly rash and occasionally cutting off critical government functions out of haste, the savings alone will work. On the Doge website, they posted $16 billion saved just in canceled contracts. Interesting, if true.
A closer look shows big problems. For example, Doge claimed axing a single immigration and customs contract saved $8 billion. Turns out that contract was worth a maximum of $8 million.
The Wall Street Journal estimates the actual amount saved at not $16 billion, but closer to $2.5.
Who amongst us hasn't lied about saying something is 16 when it's really 2.5 billion inches? That's not true. See, it seems that Doge is struggling a bit to get its footing. From made-up claims about $50 million of taxpayer money going from Gaza and condoms to billions in Social Security payments to dead people, a claim that turned out to not be real, despite what you've heard.
We have millions and millions of people over 100 years old because they're obviously fraudulent or incompetent. But if you take all of those millions of people off Social Security, all of a sudden we have a very powerful Social Security with people that are 80 and 70 and 90, but not 200 years old.
True. And you can't argue with that if only it were happening. But it's not happening. We're not paying millions and millions of dead people's Social Security money. And even if there was a 200-year-old man walking around, he wouldn't need Social Security. He'd still be guys, I'm going to tell you something. Cutting money shouldn't be this hard. I'm starting to think that we as a country don't understand where the real waste, fraud, and abuse in our system really is. Maybe the savings we glean from cutting VA nurses and iguana STD studies isn't where the real money is. Let me see if I can noodle. You know what? Let me join Doge. I'm going to see if I can noodle some ideas here. I want to get down some certain ideas. I want to do, there we go. I got that. There's my want to be an accountant starter kit, so I got it off of Amazon for $5,000. My accountant told me not to get it. So we're looking to save taxpayers some money, and I know, let me think. Oh, how about we just take $3 billion in subsidies we give to oil and gas companies that already turn billions in profits? How long does that take? Close down the carried interest loophole on hedge funds. That's $1.3 billion a year. Oh, how about we stop the $2 trillion we've given to defense contractors to build a fighter jet that blows when everybody knows the next war is going to be fought with drones and blockchain, whatever that is. Holy shit! I can't believe it. I just saved us billions of dollars in 11 seconds. Just call me Big Balls. I'm sorry, I'm being told that nickname is already taken. Well, can I get a Doge nickname? Well, disturbingly low-hanging balls, really? Well, like you've never heard of How would you even know that? Oh, I'm sorry. But see, this is where the real money is. The real money, the money our free market-ish system uses to prop up corporate profit at the expense of the taxpayer. Pharmaceutical companies get everything from our government: tax breaks, research grants, patent extensions, worth billions of dollars. And what do we, the people, get for it? The highest drug prices in the Western Hemisphere. And for some reason, the possibility of an infection in our perineum. Why would you take a drug that would give you an infection in your perineum? And why are they telling us about it at dinner time? But you know what's so horrible about our system now? And the corruption that lays within it? We're so f***ing numb to it, we actually tout tiny cracks in that exploitation as victory.
The president touting the first ever negotiations with pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of 10 drugs.
And today, I'm proud to announce that Medicare has reached agreement with all manufacturers on all 10 drugs selected in the first round of negotiations.
Oh, can it be? The companies we subsidize with billions of dollars are allowing us the privilege to negotiate the price of 10 of their drugs? And 10 is all, right? It would be nice if we just walked on this bucket and that the American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their f***ing drugs because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Going to the hospitals. What we do in pharmaceutical companies is like the worst Shark Tank deal in history. But we're asking for billions of dollars of your money. Do we get a discount? What do we get? Have you checked your perineum? We live in the upside down, and don't blame the corporations. They are profit-seeking psychopaths that need the lowest wages and the cheapest raw materials to drive their highest profits. But why do we, the taxpayers, subsidize their psychopathy? That's the waste, fraud, and abuse in our system. That's it! That's what we should be going after. Not the fantastical, over-generous terrorist condom allowances.
In another program, $50 million plus another $50 million for condoms for Hamas. You know about that? $100 million for condoms. Condoms. Does everybody know what a condom is?
You're delivering a speech in an elementary school? Why wouldn't they know what condoms are? Look, capitalism is by definition exploitative. It's how it operates. That's fine. But then government's role should be to ease the negative effects on Americans of that exploitation, not subsidize that treachery with our money. We're getting at a Diddy party, and they're making us buy the baby oil. I want Doge to work. I want better efficiencies. I want to get rid of the alphabet agencies that don't do enough. Make the Pentagon pass an audit. But we are doging in the wrong place if we want to really change the system. Companies like Walmart, McDonald's make billions of dollars in taxpayer-subsidized profits, yet many of their hardworking employees need taxpayer-subsidized public assistance. Airlines get billions in bailouts that they use in stock buybacks and bonuses. But if you're on food assistance, you're not allowed to buy hot food with it. Because apparently heated entrees are for winners. We are subsidizing the very system that makes workers' lives harder in the first place. All in the name of freedom and liberty. But the greatest restriction of freedom in this country isn't DEI and pronoun pressure. It's poverty and struggle. And the government's role, I'm not done, you bastards! It's fine! corruption that enables that exploitation. That's what the Democrats should be doing. Every day at 5 p.m. sharp, the Democrats should go live on Facebook and do the people's audit. Find the absurdities and the remedies in our exploitative system. Get someone like AOC or Jasmine Crockett or anybody that sound like they're complaining why there's no more frozen yogurt at the cafeteria in the villages. I'm sorry. You have no riz. And we need something more than shouting. We need to do something constructive to anchor our hopes. A new acronym for a new age. It's not MAGA. It's something more like Make America Not Governed in Obviously Negative. Abort! I can't. No vigilantes. But do something. America's Lord and Savior. Donald Jehoshaphat Trump. They're not booing, they're saying Bruce for no apparent reason. When Trump ran for president, he had an urgent message about the state of our country.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. We have to fight for our country. We have to fight like we've never fought before. It's like we're a giant garbage can.
How dare you? If anything, America's a recycling bin. Useless and made almost entirely of plastic. But that's it. We have to fight to save our country. And now Daddy's home. And he's about to take out the trash. And 2 weeks into the Trump presidency, we have a better sense of the evil and powerful forces that have been dragging our once great nation into decline.
The Trump administration removed transgender references from federal government websites. It now reads LGB instead of LGBT.
They have no idea the damage team was doing to our nation. Consonants! Because I think you'll agree with me, there is no T in USA. If you spell it out, obviously, that becomes an issue. And if you want a BLT for lunch, things can get ugly. But nothing will stop America's low T, but no T. What other changes are making us great again?
The Trump administration ordering all gender ideology references be removed, including pronouns and email signatures.
Consonants and pronouns! Your next prepositions. No more pronouns and email signatures. Good luck signing your emails now, President Xi. Or should I say President Kim? Those are just the actions that this president has taken to prove that he is but believe me, he hasn't taken his eye off of America's true nation-state enemies.
President Trump is reiterating his threat to, quote, take back the Panama Canal.
Trump suggesting he could use military force to take Greenland.
President Trump had a fiery phone call with Denmark's prime minister, putting the NATO ally in crisis mode.
Denmark, Greenland, where are those? Now, lest you think that pronouns and Panama were the twin forces shackling America to a prison of national decay, there are
Trump says tariffs are coming on Canada and Mexico and even the European Union.
What is happening? The EU? Canada? Do we have any friends? I mean, Mexico, I get. Trump's been hate-f***ing Mexico pretty much since the escalator. That's the truth. But Canada? We're picking a fight with our most reliable and pleasant friend, labradoodle of allies? But I guess that's Trump tough. You know what I mean? You gotta walk into the prison yard. Walk right up to the one guy who really doesn't seem to be a problem at all.
So you are the...
And just,
on,
yeah!
please.
Take that, best friend! Who has willingly signed up to fight in every ridiculous war we've ever
Allow
gotten
me.
into. Let that be a lesson to the rest of the world. We are a terrible friend. Denmark, Panama, and Canada used to fight the Nazis. Now we're scouring the globe for easy marks. What are we like, the Jake Paul of nations? I know. Is that what we're doing? No offense. I know China's out there, but Panama's a legitimate fight. In fact, I'm going to call everyone out in FIFA's CONCACAF division. Yeah! Oh, Trinidad and Tobago, you got to gang up, huh? That honestly, like, I can't believe you laughed at a CONCACAF joke. Soccer is back, baby! Look at me getting all skewed in the tie. Now, in Trump's defense, he did explain today why we're going after him.
I mean, I look at some of the deals made, I say, who the hell made these deals are so good?
The trade deals with Canada, they're so bad. He's just looking and saying, who made these? Ladies and gentlemen, don't get ahead of me! Ladies and gentlemen, for your dining and dancing pleasure, come with me into the Wayback Machine to 2018. I give you the culprit of the terrible deal with Canada.
This morning, President Trump signed a new trade deal to replace NAFTA with the leaders of Mexico and Canada.
The best trade deal they say ever made.
A deal done by Trump's greatest nemesis, Trump. Now, But President Trump, this trade war has awoken a sleeping giant. Not Canada, not Mexico. The Democratic minority Senate leader. Release the Schumer!
It's going to affect here, okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac. Because what is guacamole made of? Avocados.
Your response to the trade war is to f***ing tell us guacamole is made of avocados? Is that what? When the people find out the precious Super Bowl dip is comprised of mainly avocado, also tomatoes, sometimes onion, it's a bit much. For me, obviously, with the spilkis and, excuse me one second. Democrats, can you please stop trotting Schumer out there? Every traverses into the unreal. He's not good at this. What is the decision-making process here? Hey, who should we get out there to effectively battle one of the most savvy presidential media manipulators in history? Oh, I don't know, how about Schumer? He's uninteresting, but at least he's monotone. Oh, wait, and Chuck, before you go out there, you look too young. Put on these readers and lower them on your nose. Perfect. Honestly, listening to Chuck Schumer speak on almost any topic makes me want to bomb Canada. Kidding, of course, by the way. We have a couple of Canadians here from Montreal, and I don't want to upset them because I'm going to need an apartment soon. Now, before we... rattled by Trump's 2 to 2.5 front trade war. Please understand, Mexico has already today received a 30-day stay on tariffs by promising 10,000 troops to the border. And we've promised to stop the inflow of guns. So, self-invented crisis averted. But what can Canada do? I'm sure there's an equally performative gesture Canada can make.
What I'd like to see Canada become our 51st state.
Mexico, you just sent a few troops to the border. But Canada, if you could, I don't know, cease to exist as an independent entity, fair? What's that, Mexico? No, there's only 51 states. There's no 52nd, I'm sorry. Hold on, somebody. What's that, Puerto Rico? No, to Canada. I think you know why. Canada. Of course, by the way, since we even were writing this show at like 4 p.m., Trump has already said now he's going to pause the tariff war in Canada as well because... Of course, it makes sense to wrap up the trade war right now so that we as a country can focus on the biggest thing that's weakening our great nation.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. MAGA world's blamed this scourge for everything from the fires in California to the attack on Bourbon Street to inflation to the Baltimore Bridge collapse to why your children are confused about the race of mermaids. Because mermaids, boys and girls, are gingers. They've always been. The latest example being the plane crash in Washington. It was the DEIist. But don't take my word for it. Let's let MTV's Road Rules star and Fox & Friends B-teamer explain DEI.
You can't focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion when you try to hire air traffic controllers. You want the best. You want the brightest, protecting yourself and your family.
We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. It is colorblind and merit-based.
Look, there's a lot of reasons why the FAA is in a bad place. But these guys would have you believe that the main problem is that standards were somehow broken to make sure that a black person or a gay person gets a chance to land your plane, even though the requirements to become an air traffic controller are the same. But by culture warring this tragedy, Americans spent that terrible night holding their breath that the pilot or the air traffic controller wouldn't be a woman or a black person or in a wheelchair. Because what they're trying to do is make the default setting on competence in America. Oh my God. That's what this is, a reset to the factory default. Because of course, these two are there purely based on merit. And smart. And it's taken for granted. It undercuts every black person of color, woman in this country, that the job that they have, they don't deserve. It's the mantra in the Republican Party that gives you brain-turning moments like this.
In the United States of America, we get ahead and succeed on merit and merit alone.
Yes, merit. And merit alone, says RNC Chairwoman Lara. Hold on, let me get my glasses. Trump. It was a blind submission. Never saw her name on the application. That's the irony of this whole thing. The people standing next to Trump on that terrible night, blaming DEI and trying to reinstall white guys as the only non-suspect pool of hires are themselves DEI hires for one particular identity that they possess, the ass kisser.
The president's leadership has been remarkable during this crisis. Mr. President, you make our jobs a lot easier.
I want to echo what the Transportation Secretary said about your leadership. Thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir.
I think you make a really important point on that, Mr. President.
The president is right.
And again, I want to thank you for your leadership, Mr. President.
DEI, sucking ego inflation. Obviously, if you think of sucking as a company. But you can gaslight us all you want. Because the one thing you didn't count on is our seat.
The roots of democracy are deep. People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time in terms of trying to get this done.
I'm going to appoint Elon Musk, who's a fantastic guy, to lead a government efficiency commission tasked with saving trillions of dollars in fraud, waste, and abuse. We have tremendous fat, tremendous fat.
Don't take the bait, Desi. Don't take the bait. Be the bigger person. Be the bigger person. Okay. That's right, Elon Musk, the world's richest man and guy who cheers in the wrong parts of Saving Private Ryan. Trump promised us that he'd give Elon full access to the federal government, pull it to the side and get all up in it. And unlike his wedding vows, this is a promise he kept.
Elon Musk's sweeping push to make over the federal government, sparking Democratic panic and warnings of a constitutional crisis.
Now we have learned that his team has gained access to something extraordinarily sensitive, the system that the Treasury Department uses to disperse almost every check and expenditure of any kind made by the U.S. government.
That is a vast database with millions of Americans' personal information on it.
Yeah, Elon Musk has access to your social security number, and that is not cool. If you want our personal data, Elon, you go buy it off the dark web like everyone else, okay? Now, you might be thinking, I don't want white nationalist Tony Stark to have sole control of the inner workings of the federal government, but relax. It's not just Elon. He has a fully equipped team.
Longtime government employees this week were shocked to find that their new supervisors from Elon Musk's Doge department include recent college and high school graduates between 18 and 24 years old. One of the young men is apparently a former intern at Musk's Neuralink company, who goes by the online handle Big Balls.
Great! Big Balls has my social security number. Now I feel better. I know we complained about our leaders being too old, but doesn't this go a little too far in the other direction? Surely there must be a middle ground somewhere between crypto bros and crypt keepers. Not only that, Musk has been installing his big balls in a whole bunch of little-known agencies that are crucial in actually running the government. The GSA, the OPM, the OMB, the OC, and SVU. Now, Elon Musk isn't just going to get full access to the federal government just to sit back and watch it function like he's some sort of cuck. No, he's going to jump in there and do some cutting.
This weekend, Musk taking aim at the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, which is in charge of dispensing tens of billions of dollars in foreign aid.
USAID employees are waking up this morning to an email notice telling them not to show up to work today, as Musk says he is shutting the agency down.
Yes, the richest man in the world is cutting off aid to poor countries. Why can't you just be a normal billionaire and co-host Shark Tank or run an NBA team into the ground? And I'm not saying there's not some cuts to be made in foreign aid spending. You just don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, or what's the expression I'm looking for?
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't really, like if you've got an apple that's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a bowl of worms. Mm-hmm. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing.
Okay, we get it. We get the metaphor. You don't have to keep saying worms over and over again. You know, I have a metaphor too. Elon Musk's charisma reminds me of a ball of worms. Of course, USAID was codified by an act of Congress. So if Trump thinks he can have Elon Musk kill it, he must have a strong legal reason for why he could do that without an act of Congress.
Will it take an act of Congress to do away with USAID or include
I don't know. I don't think so.
Or not. Why should he know? He's just the president. Donald Trump is also reducing the government workforce, although his interests seem to be less about cost cutting and more about sweet, sweet revenge.
And tremendous unrest inside the FBI as prosecutors and agents who worked on the January 6th investigation are being targeted.
It looks like a wholesale purge of the FBI. As you know, already the 8 top officials at the Federal Bureau of Investigation have either been fired or forced to resign. Now, the FBI is being asked to produce a list of every employee who worked on any case related to January 6th. I am told this is some 6,000 FBI employees all told.
What the These agents were doing their job enforcing the law, and now they're getting fired? That is not how it works. I cannot believe I have to explain firing to the star of The Apprentice. That was your whole fake job. And this is obviously just the beginning, because Trump is going to be targeting everyone that's ever come after this. And I just want to say, I'm not scared. So, Mr. Trump, bring it on, okay? That's coming from me, Jordan Klepper, K-L-E-P-P-E-R.
Every day since Trump came into office, he bombards us with ridiculous policies. We go crazy trying to keep up with them, and before we can catch our breath, he hits us with something else even more absurd. It is exhausting and unsustainable. So, starting today, no more of that, okay? No more. I have a whole script here full of important issues that I want to talk about, and I'm not going to let Donald Trump distract me with some crazy new idea.
This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump with the Israeli Prime Minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. We'll own it.
Okay, let me just ask, what? And also, what?
President Trump made a surprising suggestion last night during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The United States, he said, should take over the war-torn Gaza Strip and redevelop it into something like a seaside resort.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East.
What the f?
into the Riviera? He couldn't even turn Atlantic City into a nicer Atlantic City. If anything, they tore down so many of his casinos, he turned Atlantic City into Gaza. But okay, he wants to rebuild it, and he wants to turn it into Mar-a-Lago. At least the Palestinians will have a place to go back to.
Donald Trump calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza's been very unlucky for them.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that.
Is to take over Gaza, rebuild it into Mar-a-Lago, and make sure that the Palestinians who live there can't go back? That is the craziest thing he said since yesterday and until tomorrow. Even his chief of staff was shocked. Look at her face. She looks just like she won Best Country Album at the Grammy. She's shocked. He's effectively advocating for ethnic cleansing. Who could possibly be okay with that?
You see things others refuse to see. You say things others refuse to say. And on after the jaws drop, people scratch their heads. And they say, you know, he's right.
No, they usually scratch their heads and they say, what the f*** are you talking about? At Trump's idea. Look at him. He looks happier than a teenager getting a hand job in the back of a birthright bus. But Bibi aside, this proposal is giving a lot of people whiplash. Trump ran his whole campaign on America first, and now he's out there chanting from the Riviera to the sea. Even Trump's Republican allies aren't on board, although, of course, they have to let him down easy.
It was a surprising development.
Senator Josh Hawley says, quote, I don't know that I think it's the best use of U.S. resources to spend a bunch of money in Gaza.
We also heard from Senator Lindsey Graham. I think most South Carolinians would probably not be excited about sending Americans to take over Gaza. I think that might be problematic.
Tom Tillis likely with the quote of the night, which was, there are probably a couple kinks in that slinky.
To not openly disagree with Trump. They're just making up sayings now. Of course, some of his supporters, like Steve Ducey, are trying to give Trump the benefit of the doubt.
It was a jaw-dropper last night. The cover of the New York Post is, we'll take over Gaza. I think this is just the tipping. You know, this is the conversation starter. Because obviously, the president knows when he says, we'll take Gaza. He knows the United States can't invade another country.
America would never invade another country. You can read all about it in Steve Ducey's American history book, Me Just Got Lobotomy by Steve. So to summarize, MAGA people think this is dicey. Their eyeballs think it's batshit crazy. And the entire plan is DOA unless Trump can do some real outreach to the countries in the Middle East. And based on his response to reporters from Afghanistan, I don't think he has the skills to do it.
We have a high expectation from you. Do you have any plan to change Afghanistan situation?
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I don't understand what you're saying. But I just say this. Good luck. Live in peace.
Good luck, live in peace? Why does he sound like he's saying goodbye to E.T.? The people of Earth wish you peace. May your slinky have no kinks. Yesterday, Donald Trump unveiled his big plan to relocate Gazans and turn their homeland into the world's holiest Hard Rock hotel casino. And today, the reviews are in. The Arab world
Can we ask about your Gaza proposal? A lot of people are talking about, obviously.
Everybody loves it.
I stand corrected. I guess everybody loves it. And even though the plan was totally perfect in every way, his staff spent the entire next day walking back every single part of it.
The president said his intention was to remove Palestinians from Gaza permanently.
If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently.
But today, the press secretary said it would be temporary.
The president has made it clear that they need to be temporarily relocated out of Gaza for the rebuilding of this effort.
Trump's press secretary just had her first walk back. This is an important rite of passage for Trump's spokespeople, their bull mitzvah, if you will. She was spending so much time walking back the plan that at one point she ran out of English words.
This is an uninhabitable place for human beings.
Yeah, so true. Remind me how it got uninhabitable again? Even worse for Caroline, while she was scrambling to salvage Trump's plan, Trump was on Truth Social readjusting it on the fly, which left everybody even more confused.
Breaking just a short time ago, President Trump seemed to backtrack, but also to double down on his plan to take over Gaza.
A backtrack and a double down? And now, on the uneven bars, Donald Trump will attempt the rare combination backtrack, double down. And let's see if he breaks every bone in his body. But while his team tries to fix his Gaza plan, Donald Trump has already moved on because he's basically the norovirus. Every day he spews executive orders all over the place, and while we struggle to clean up all the puke, he comes out the other end with something even worse. He tried to buy out the entire workforce of the CIA. His DOJ is going after anyone who's investigated him, and now he has defeated America's biggest threat.
At the White House today, President Trump signing an executive order banning transgender women and girls from competing in women's sports.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. We're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding.
You notice how he paused right before invade your locker rooms? Like, maybe we won't make that illegal. Should have proofread this. Look, it's bad enough that he's banned trans women from sports, but spare us the performance of pretending that this is a top issue for women in this country. Maybe start with, I don't know, reproductive rights or pay inequality. Or why it's 2025 and still none of my clothes have pockets. Now you might be wondering, is this really going to be the entire Trump presidency? Just divisive executive orders every day for the next 4 years? Probably, but on the bright side, he did have one executive order today that felt relatively harmless.
I have signed an executive order to resume the process of creating a national park full of statues of the greatest Americans who ever lived. It will be called the National Garden of American Heroes, and I hope that Congress will fully fund this wonderfully unifying project at the first possible opportunity.
Excuse me, sir. Americans already have a national garden, and it sells unlimited breadsticks. I never thought I'd say this, but Elon, I got some government waste for you right here. Does anyone have the phone number of the Department of Government Efficiency? Actually, they're all 12-year-olds. Does anyone have the Roblox usernames of the Department of Government Efficiency?
Of Government Efficiency, headed up
by the Nick Cannon of white people, Elon Musk, is in... It's in full effect. And it may surprise you, I, for one, happen to be, quite frankly, Doge curious. I'm actually somewhat Doge adjacent. So, Mr. President, if you would.
We have to.
It's a day that ends in Y, which means that a bunch of... No, I'm not going to say it. She's coming back the second time. She's thinking about wearing a mask as well. What is she doing? What are you doing? Disgusting hog? Yeah, I guess that's one way to say it. I think that's kind of accurate. Putting your DNA on it? Yeah. It's her car. Yeah. Vehicle. Yep. You see that? Is she trying to act like she didn't do it? There it is on her right. I missed that. The internet is. Boom. Oh, but why? Because she thinks she's morally justified to do this. That's the reason why. And she thinks she won't get in trouble. Add in accountability to this, it immediately stops. Instantaneously stops. So here's another one right here. Several vehicles set on fire at Tesla, Las Vegas. There's another one. Oh, good. This is in America, by the way. Hey, guys, keep in mind, these are the people that were arguing against me saying that this was